Alright, how's it going everybody? Matt Cynner here. Hopefully you guys are having a good night. It's a beautiful warm Friday night here in Melbourne CBD. It's my night off as well, so no gigs, no busking, no open mics, no nothing. And I thought we'll do something different for tonight's vlog. I love Melbourne nightlife. I love the bars, I love the restaurants, I love the music scene, I love everything that Melbourne generally has to offer. So what I thought we'd do is that we'll go for a nice walk around Melbourne CBD and see what the nightlife is like. So what we're going to do is that we're going to start off in Melbourne Central and then head down to Swanston Street, and then from Swanston Street over to South Bank Promenade. Let's get the vlog started.
It's electrifying with you, yeah, So you have got me now. I'll follow you down to the end of the road. Oh, let's take a ride. There's no turning back from you.
Alright, so we're walking out here on the top level right now. So Melbourne Central here on the top level has like a lot of bars and clubs. What we got right here is Be Lucky and Sons. So that's a bar and an arcade. Pretty small arcade, but they do have some really fun games. The games aren't really as forgiving as like the time zone games where like, you just only score like a little bit of points and you get a lot of tickets. Here you're going to have to try really hard because it's for the adults obviously. We've also got Strike Bowling right here, and then right next door to that is the Lion Hotel. The good thing about the Lion Hotel is that it's like an Irish style pub. The cool thing about this place is that on Fridays and Saturday nights they have bands that play there, but it is generally the same two bands that have a residency there, and they are cover bands, which is fine. I mean, it's good to have something to break it up instead of just having DJs play for the whole night. The cool thing about this place too is that if it's too hot or too cold outside, at least it's a nice indoor place to go to. It's not overly busy, and if you're just looking for something like minimal to do, at least you got these bars up here to go to. Another cool bar that's along here as well is on the other side called Asian Beer Cafe, or ABC for short. One of the things Melbourne is known for is that we have a lot of balcony bars and we've got a lot of rooftop bars, and that's definitely one of the good ones here. Actually shot a movie here in the 1997. I can't remember what the name of the movie was, but yeah, the top of that screen cone right there, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like part of the front cover of that movie. Now we're about to walk onto Swanston Street. So we're walking outside of Melbourne Central now, and this is pretty much like the start of the busiest part of Swanston Street. Swanston Street, like if you're a musician, if you're a busker, this is pretty much like busking central in the CBD. It is 10:30, so it's getting close to the cut-off time for amplified busking to stop. But yeah, you get some buskers that play here in front of the State Library, you get some buskers that play pretty much like all along Swanston Street along here. If you're from Sydney, Swanston Street is pretty much like the equivalent to George Street, except we don't have a lot of busking restrictions or heavy busking restrictions like how they do there. Over here is pretty much where the bulk of the Asian restaurants are. So we got things like a China bar. What else have we got? We got Dragon Hot Pot, which is one of my favorite hot pots to go to. There's even some more on this side here as well. The really cool thing about this place over here, Curtin, is that they've actually got a really nice rooftop bar. You do get a pretty decent view of the skyscrapers up there. They've also got an outdoor cinema as well, which is really cool. This right here is pretty much like what you would consider to be like the start of Chinatown. I mean, if you don't include some of the Asian restaurants that are on Swanston Street, you can kind of say that they're a part of Chinatown. Now we're in Bourke Street, which is busking central for during the day. It's a very busy area. The buskers that do play here do get a lot of money for performing, but the problem is that not every busker is going to be applicable to get a Bourke Street permit. Reason being is because it's a high tourist area and they do have some pretty high standards for the types of performers they want out here on the street. Right behind behind me is one of Melbourne's most iconic landmarks, the Flinders Street Station. I didn't realise how iconic it was until people started talking about it as I got older, but to be honest, the outside actually looks better than the inside, especially considering how well lit up it looks. But one of the nicest looking buildings is right next door to one of the ugliest buildings that we have here in Melbourne, which is Fed Square. You do sometimes get some buskers that are performing outside of Flinders Street Station. What the success rate is like here in terms of money, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I've never actually busked here. Over there, right on that side, is where you can see the MCG, Australia's biggest stadium. We've had Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift play there. They did the biggest concerts here, as far as I know. It was Ed Sheeran's biggest concert ever. I'm pretty sure it might have been Taylor Swift's biggest concert there as well. But yeah, I definitely know that for Ed Sheeran, it was definitely his biggest concert there. He played here in 2023 for 2 nights. I went to the first night, and I think that one was the second biggest, and then the night after that was the biggest that he did. All right, we'll walk downstairs and see what the vibe is like down there. It's a pretty nice place, pretty cozy, and not to sound corny, but pretty romantic as well. If you are, looking for a nice place to take a date on, you do get a really nice view of the city, and you do get some really nice restaurants along here as well. But I mean, you get what you pay for. I mean, you get a good meal, you get a good view of the CBD, and yeah, it's just a really, really nice area in general. So I do have a pretty funny story about this particular spot here. So I used to busk where those rubbish bins were, right? Because this is a pretty busy area and it's a prime spot for buskers. Mostly because you get a lot of people that are heading towards a casino and are ready to spend their money anyway. One night I was busking here in this exact spot, and then there was a guy who was sitting down on the floor there. He looked a little bit intoxicated. He was sitting down on the floor with his legs crossed, wasn't disturbing anybody, and he looked like he was enjoying the music. And then the police officers parked their car right behind me over here. They got out of the car to speak to the gentleman that was on the floor, and in the middle of that moment I stopped busking and I just let them talk to the guy. They were talking to this guy for half an hour to 45 minutes. So that whole time I was just standing there, not playing any music, not doing anything, just being silent. So without coming across as too pushy, I just slowly started getting back into my set and I started playing Sweet Child of Mine. As I did that, the police officers picked up the guy, they put handcuffs on him, and they escorted him to the car. And as they escorted him to the car, they were singing along with me, singing, "Oh, sweet child." And it's pretty good. Yeah, I know. Where else in the world will you see somebody getting arrested and police officers just socializing and getting along like that because of music? The cool thing about Crack Casino as well is that some of their venues inside does have some live music, whether it's like solo, duo, acoustic acts, or even some bands as well. But most of the acts that do play there are going to be cover artists. We do get a handful of original artists that do play up in the Palms Theatre, but it is a majority of the time it is going to be covers and tribute acts that do play there because they are likely to draw in a bigger crowd. Usually when we get like international acts, like assuming they can guarantee a certain amount of numbers, they do put them in the Palms Theatre. But other than that, I mean, like if we get an international act, realistically they're going to be playing in other places like Rod Laver, the Forum, or like, even a much smaller venue like the Northgate Theatre or the Croxton, something like that. The music venues here are pretty cool though, like you do get some really nice bands that play here. One day I will get a gig here, one day. I just got to try and find the right connections to try and get me inside those venues. And yeah, one day I will get a gig here.
It's electrifying with you, yeah, yeah. So you have got me now. I'll follow you down to the end of the road. Oh, let's take a ride. There's no turning back from you, yeah, so
And that's the end of the vlog. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I had fun. I like doing this. I like to show people how fun and exciting Melbourne can be, But if you have any other places that you want me to check out or you want me to film, drop it in the comments or send me a DM. I've kind of got heaps of other places in mind that I want to film at, whether it be like Chapel Street, Brunswick Street, or Fitzroy Street, or just, anything. But yeah, this was a fun thing to do. I enjoyed it. And yeah, if you guys like this type of vlog, please subscribe, like the video. And yeah, my name is Matt Cynner, and as always, stay out of trouble.
it's electrifying with you.